It's been a while actually since we had a productive discussion for the intermediate and higher level in English, so I just thought of dedicating this episode to talk about 10 tips or 10 rules for having a very good constructive conversation with a person. So I thought of, talk about 10 rules for very good conversation with another person. Now, talking about this, and in the back of my mind, there is something that is, really necessary to be, pointed out to you, gentlemen and ladies. And that is, learning English is not only learning grammar and learning the basic rules of conversation, or learning the tenses or words, vocabulary in general, that enable you to communicate well. Because sometimes, the situation, the context where you're talking to people determines the kind of language, the kind of register that you need to auto-tune to make sure you manage a very highly positive conversation. And in order to do so, in order to accomplish this, you need to cater for a lot of elements of a highly productive conversation. These are 10 rules that I would like to present to you because these rules determine whether you are going to end up having a good productive conversation or not. The first rule is to be really genuinely interested in the discussion, because a lot of people actually try to talk to you and approach you, or you approach them, but you end up not having a very good list of topics to talk about. Usually, like when you ask a question to a person like how's the weather today, you don't like only to hear what the weather looks like today, because you just need to open a friendly discussion with them. And trying to solidify the kind of topics, try to galvanize the kind of content that you have that looks a little bit sufficiently positive, and in terms of the content, in terms of the productivity of the topic, is a catalyst to have a very engaging discussion. So if you're not that quite interested, if your body gestures and body positioning in front of that person is not quite indicating the vibe of good interaction, or you just show a kind of innuendo that this person is not your kind of person that you want to talk to, you need to stop this conversation as soon as possible. However, if you really want and if you're really into the discussion, you need to be genuinely interested in, and not only answer by just saying, well, the weather looks stormy today, and you stop, because this is not the whole idea of the discussion. The next tip or rule is to focus on the positives of the discussion. Any kind of discussion has positives and negatives, and trying to focus on the full glass is essential to focus on the positives here. And the positives that we're talking about is a kind of like a gray zone for a lot of people, because sometimes we need to focus on some of the negatives of things, here and there. But keeping in mind that the whole essence of conversation is to get a sense of what that person wants and needs, and reaching out to a goal or a terminal or objective from this conversation should be in any way positive. Otherwise, you'll just vibe to people a very negative feeling that will end up, not talking to you later on. So always focus on the positive aspects of the conversation, and try to avoid the negativity that might end up as an offshoot of the conversation, because it's necessary that any conversation should focus on the positives more than the negatives. And even if you want to focus on the negatives, encapsulated with some sugarcoating positive criticism, otherwise people will just ricochet. Their feeling will just be negative, and they'll end up not talking to you later on. The third rule is to converse, not debate. If you're debating, we're just debating for the sake of training to be diplomatic to people, and you need to converse, you need to be friendly, you need to use diplomatic language. Try to find the list of the positive comments and phrases and expressions that we commonly associate with positive conversation. If you're trying to debate, you need to debate. You need to let the other person understand that the sake of the debate, the whole purpose of the debate is for training purposes. And you need to let the other person understand that the debate is only for the sake of learning, or for discussion, or for educational purpose. Otherwise, you need to avoid debating as soon as possible when you open a discussion with someone. Try to compliment the other people always. People love compliments in the discussion, in the conversation. So, saying to people, "You look nice. This is a very nice pair of shoes. You look wonderful. You look brilliant today. You're just controlling everything today. You're just fantastic. You look fantastic today." People love compliments, and do not hesitate to compliment people, because this shows the good charisma. It shows you're very good self-confident. It shows that you're self-confident. You don't want to people just compliment you and not compliment them. People love compliments. So if you open a conversation with good compliments, you'll end up having people loving talking. Does not come from learning grammar. This is typical of any language around the world, that learning to compliment people is really fantastic element of having them interact with you positively and ending up having a very good productive discussion. Embrace differences. Embrace differences. Embracing differences is the other flip side to the coin, because if you embrace differences, you would understand that people have different perspectives. What you see as W, they will see as an M letter. And embracing differences will make you more tolerant to ambiguity. It will not make you judgmental. Do not be judgmental in the conversation. Do not say, "Well, this is stupid, this is fat, this is," these are adjectives that we learned in the early stages of learning language, and they are really highly offensive to people if you just use them. Even if you use them when you're talking to people about other people, in reported speech or in any kind of direct conversation, you should avoid these kind of expressions. And also you should avoid these kind of expressions, and you should always maintain a positive environment for interaction by using a lot of compliments to people. And it doesn't hurt, just say, "You look wonderful today. You look nice. You look dapper." These adjectives will give very good positive vibe to people and let them understand you. That will let them listen carefully more to you while you're talking. Do not mime people. Do not imitate people unless you're just trying to learn certain method or certain strategy. Miming people will just make you lose the genuine self that you have developed over the course of time. You have your own personality. You just need to tap on the aspects and the gaps that you need to bridge over the course of time and overlook that you overlooked, and then to make sure that your positivity is embraced in the process, all the way through the process of learning. Embracing yourself and trying to understand you're not perfect, and also telling that to people will just make them understand you better. They will understand the true genuinity of yourself, and they will understand that you are authentic. The authenticity that you're presenting to them is of high value to a lot of people, because a lot of people cherish and endear the person who's true to themselves. Maintain a 50-50% discussion. 50-50% discussion is a discussion where you only take and hold the floor for 50% of the time that you're talking to people. If you maintain a very good 50-50 or 60-40, give the 60 to the other person. Try to listen more than talking more. This will give them a very good chance to let you understand what their perspectives are, and maybe make you more their best friend, because people love to be listened to. So if you listen to people more, you'll just engage with them in a very positive kind of discussion. Ask purposeful questions. You know, we understand that these are cliche kind of questions that we ask people about, like, how is the weather today? What have you done today in the morning? What's your daily routine? These kind of cliche questions. But we need to ask purposeful questions to let people think that we are really dedicated to understand them, to cherish who they are, and maybe, you know, asking them what is your purpose in life? What's your plan for the next 1 year or the next 2 or 3 years? How do you manage patience with people who just go on your nerves? These kind of like purposeful questions, if you put them in a list and try to memorize them, and in order to, you know, say them to people the next time, you'll learn a lot from people. And as we say always, everything we know, we learned from someone else. The last rule is to give and take. Do not be very judgmental. Do not be very critical. A lot of people actually, no matter who they are, where they're coming from, what kind of like educational status they possess, they try to avoid negative criticism from other people. So try to maintain a give and take discussion where you're friendly, you're showing your friendliness to people, and also try to understand that those people are just like you. They just love to be complimented, they just love to be given chance to talk and express themselves, and everyone is coming from a different background. So trying to understand that, there is an ambiguity out there, and, you know, try to always be open-minded. Try to be open-minded. In this way, you will maintain a very positive discussion with your friends. You will gain more friends. You will gain more reputation as a good listener and as a good charismatic person who is self-reliant and also self-educated and well-spoken. These are 10 tips. These are 10 pieces of advice that I wanted to share with you, since we haven't had the chance actually to talk. We've been doing a lot of live broadcasting in the classes to get a sense of the real language and how we maintain to use it in the classroom. But this is a very small snapshot of some of the rules that will make you pragmatically more communicative to people, more understandable, and less negligent to a lot of actually the aspects that people overlook over the course of the discussion that they maintain with other people. I thought that this piece of advice for you will work really great if you're maintaining a learning trajectory in English, but also not marginalizing the pragmatic aspects, where you need to understand that language is not only about using grammar, it's about understanding who the person you're talking to, where they're coming from, their background, understanding the context of discussion, and also trying to maintain a good listening strategy. Have a wonderful day. This is the English teacher Walid, and looking forward to seeing you in another video. God bless you.